Hello, this is Pastor Terry Goodman, and I want to welcome you to the Wesleyan Connection. This podcast is primarily for the clergy and laity of the Holston Annual Conference. Join with me now as I take a look around the Connection and share some of the things happening in the churches of our annual conference. This is Pastor Terry Goodman. I want to welcome you to Episode 7 of Conversations at Annual Conference. I really appreciate those of you that have been coming up to me and saying that you've been listening to the podcast here on the Wesleyan Connection, as well as those that are on the Call podcast. I enjoy doing these, and I hope that you have found them beneficial. In the last few days, I've done quite a few. As I said, this is Episode 7. It's gone up at 6 a.m. this morning. I'm going to put up one more episode in Conversations at Annual Conference, and it's going to be more like a recap and my thoughts on it, and it'll go up at noon. And then next Wednesday, I will begin my regular Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. Podcasts. I'll tell you more about that in the noon podcast. In this first segment, I talk with two different pastors from two different churches. I talk with Corey Miller from the Spring Creek and Calhoun Circuit in Calhoun, Tennessee. Pretty sure that's the Cleveland District. And I also speak with Jay Glenn Mosely from the Mount Zion Church there in Cleveland as well. Hope you enjoy listening to their stories. I'm talking with Corey Miller here. Tell us where you're from and your church, Corey.
I am from Calhoun, Tennessee. Basically, the two churches, Spring Creek United Methodist and Calhoun United Methodist.
Okay, I just have a simple question for you. What do you think that your churches are doing to make a difference in their respective communities?
Well, really, we're trying to sort of move in that direction. I got two good churches, good people, but I kind of been just doing what they do. And we're really moving along, focusing right now on some spiritual growth. To kind of get ourselves as the churches in the places where we can start moving out into our community and start doing things and doing more than what we normally do.
Okay. Also here is Jay Glenn Mosely, Cleveland District. Where are you serving?
I'm serving at Mount Zion United Methodist in the Cleveland District.
Well, I ask you the same question. What do you think that your church is doing to make a difference in your community?
Well, it is a slow process in turning the corner into getting people more active. But one thing that we're trying to do is everything that we do for the church and for the Lord, we try to make sure that they know we're making a difference in the world. So when we give mission kits, or when we donate to the orphanage, or we donate to anything through the church, we personally, individually and collectively, are making a difference for the church and for the Lord. And we're changing the world one person at a time. So as we grow in possibilities, we learn that everything that we do, even if we bake a pie for a neighbor that's lost a loved one, we can find that everything we do makes a difference in this world.
Well, thank you, too. I appreciate the ministries that your churches are doing, and hopefully out there folks will be praying for you and the success of those ministries.
God bless you. Thank you.
The next two segments are going to maybe sound similar. I didn't realize it at the time, but I ended up interviewing two persons from Concord United Methodist Church. And so they're going to be telling sort of similar stories, but I thought, well, let's just share them here and see. The first person is going to be talking is going to be Dalton Smith, and he'll be sharing his impressions of what Concord is doing in the community. And then I'll come back with another person from that church as well. I'm talking with Dalton Smith, Oak Ridge District. What church are you with, Dalton?
Concord.
Yes. What are some of the things that your church is doing to make a difference in your community?
We do a lot of outreach. We just completed a 36,000-pound crop dop of potatoes and gave it to needy families within the area. And we go on a lot of mission trips, do a lot of habitat, just a lot of community-type work.
What are some of the things that you could suggest to other churches maybe that are trying to get involved in the community? What could they do to get more active?
Well, we just had the crop drop, and we sent notices around to everybody in the neighborhood and invite them over for a free brunch. which was very well attended. Had about 200 people involved in that, and we have first-time visitors. We have what we call a Andrew ministry, and we call them the day they visit, and then we go by and take a loaf of bread the next day. So just being involved in community, be aware of what the needs are.
Well, thank you very much, Dalton.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to be sharing another story from Concord United Methodist Church. This time, Norma Smith is going to be the one speaking. Norma, I recognized her right away as someone that had been in the Oak Ridge District, and so I hope you enjoy listening to what she says that Concord has been up to. Would either of you ladies be willing to share a little bit about what you're doing in your church and your community to make a difference?
Shoot, yeah.
I want to tell you something. It's going to take you at least half an hour to tell it.
I know. How much time have you got?
Well, as much as you want to talk. I'm looking at Norma Smith from Oak Ridge. I recognize her face from when I was back in the Oak Ridge. She's from Concord, okay.
Let's
zero it in.
You want to do this?
No, you do it.
What's happening there, Norma?
Concord is trying to feed the hungry as far out as we can reach. Last Saturday, we bagged up 36,000 pounds of potatoes in 10-pound bags, and they went from one end of the conference to the other end. And we've got a garden, 2 lots next door to the church. We took 120 pounds of onions to the food pantry just last Monday. That's just one of several projects that Concord's been doing, and we're just reaching out to anybody that'll hear us.
All right. Thank you very much.
Wait, I'll share one more.
Okay, go ahead.
This spring, our kids planted tomato seeds in little pots, and once they got up a little bit, we delivered them to all the neighborhood. It's like 200 families. We gave them a tomato plant and an invitation to come help us bag up those potatoes. But with that, they would get a free brunch. And so we're reaching to everybody in the community.
Sounds good. I appreciate your outreach efforts. In this final segment, I share briefly what Mary Kline from Brooks Memorial down in the Chattanooga District has to say about her church and its activity in the community. This is Mary Kline, Chattanooga District. I used to be in Chattanooga, out of McKendree in Jasper. Where are you, Mary? What church are you with?
I'm with Brooks Memorial United Methodist Church in Lupton City.
Okay. And I'm not sure, the color name tags, are you a laity or are you
Local pastor.
A local pastor, okay. Well, what is your church doing to make a difference in your community?
Well, we're making a stronger effort to get to know our community. That is something that's rather new to the to our church right now. Just getting out and getting to know our neighbors. We host the neighborhood association at the church, so we're getting to know people who are in that association. We're also reaching out to Rivermont Elementary. That's something that was started by the pastor before me with the Sack Pack program. And once a month, they're sacking up 230 meals, weekend meals for the students at Rivermont Elementary. We have started a Tai Chi for Balance class that meets twice a week, and that's not just for the church members, that's also for people in the community who need that little extra help, older folks mostly. And we've also started a men's breakfast group. We do not have a United Methodist men's group at the church. This is just community men's breakfast so that the guys can get together and have guy time and get to know one another. So far, that's what we've got going on.
You said prior to the interview that you were a small church. What size church are we talking about?
Our membership is between 30 and 40. I don't have a clear number. I've only been there a year. We average, right now we're averaging close to 30 on Sundays.
So for a church that size, it sounds to me like y'all are doing quite a bit in the community.
We're working on it. We've got some outreach events too. This is something that's been ongoing for them In the fall, they've got an apple butter festival, and that's a lot of fun. It's music and just getting together and getting to know the neighborhoods. It's like a block party.
Well, thank you so much for sharing, and I'll be praying for your church and encouraging everybody out there to pray as well. Well, I hope you've enjoyed these episodes. This is episode number 7, so you've got 6 that you can listen to in which I talk to people about the things that are happening in their local church and how they are helping to proclaim Jesus Christ. Also a very special one in there about the youth and how they are responding to Jesus' call to ministry in their life. So I encourage you to listen back at noon today for the final podcast that's related to these series of podcasts that I've been putting up while I'm here at Annual Conference. And again, I remind you that starting next Wednesday, you can hear the weekly podcast at 8 a.m. each Wednesday morning. And I'll talk more about that in our noontime podcast. So God bless and have a great morning at Annual Conference. This is Pastor Goodman. Thanks for listening to this edition of the Wesleyan Connection. Be sure to check back often for more podcasts.